Do you know which countries don't support LGBTQ and why? Even Elon Musk, with all his innovative genius, couldn't solve this problem. LGBTQ, an acronym for Liberty, Gaiety, Pride, Diversity, and Equality, is a global movement that advocates for the rights and acceptance of all individuals, regardless of their sexual orientation, gender identity, or expression. This movement champions for inclusivity, diversity, and equality, promoting a world where everyone is free to be themselves, free of discrimination or prejudice. However, it's important to note that not all countries embrace these principles. Some nations resist LGBTQ due to deep-rooted cultural, religious, or political beliefs that contrast with the ideals of liberty, gaiety, pride, diversity, and equality. These differences in perspective lead to an interesting, albeit complex, global landscape where acceptance and recognition of LGBTQ vary. As we navigate through this topic, it's crucial to approach it with an open mind and empathy for diverse viewpoints. Let's dive into the top 5 countries that don't support LGBTQ and their reasons. First up, we have Russia. With its deeply rooted conservative values, Russia often finds itself at odds with the principles of LGBTQ. These principles champion diversity and inclusivity, which clash with the country's traditional norms. Adding fuel to the fire, Russia has laws against what it terms as propaganda of non-traditional sexual relationships among minors. This law significantly impedes LGBTQ advocacy, creating a challenging environment for the community. Moving on to the next country, we have China. Let's talk about China. China, despite its rapid modernization, has shown little progress in terms of LGBTQ rights. The lack of legal protection for the LGBTQ community is alarming. This is largely due to societal pressures favoring conformity to traditional gender roles. This lack of recognition and protection affects the everyday lives of countless individuals, stifling their identities and creating an environment of fear and discrimination. It's a stark reminder that progress in one area does not guarantee progress in others. Next on the list is Saudi Arabia. Now let's take a look at Saudi Arabia. In this deeply religious society, the stance on LGBTQ is heavily influenced by traditional beliefs. The country's laws are stringent, with homosexuality and transgender identities not only frowned upon, but considered criminal offenses. The punishments for violating these laws are severe, often involving harsh penalties that reflect the society's deeply ingrained cultural norms. It's a complex issue, rooted in centuries-old traditions that resist change. Next, we move on to Iran. Iran is our next stop. In this nation, the LGBTQ community faces severe challenges. Rooted in religious and cultural beliefs, the societal and legal treatment of this community is harsh, to say the least. There's an absence of legal protections, making life for these individuals incredibly difficult. Homosexuality is not only stigmatized but met with severe punishments, creating a climate of fear and repression. This stark contrast to more accepting societies underscores the importance of global LGBTQ rights advocacy. Finally, we arrive at Nigeria. Last but not least, we have Nigeria. In Nigeria, the legal and societal landscape is incredibly challenging for the LGBTQ community. The laws there criminalize homosexuality, and the penalties for those found guilty are severe. It's not just a matter of being ostracized or facing discrimination. It's about facing years, even decades in prison. The societal attitudes in Nigeria are also a significant obstacle. There is a deep-rooted lack of understanding and acceptance of the LGBTQ community, resulting in widespread prejudice and discrimination. This is not just about laws, but about attitudes and beliefs that make life incredibly difficult for LGBTQ individuals. Despite the global progress in LGBTQ rights, Nigeria remains one of the countries where the battle for acceptance and equality is far from over. The lack of support for LGBTQ rights is not only a legal issue, but a humanitarian one, as it affects the lives of countless individuals daily. These are the top 5 countries that currently do not support LGBTQ. To wrap things up, we've journeyed across 5 countries: Russia, China, Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Nigeria, and explored their reasons for not supporting the principles of LGBTQ. From cultural beliefs and societal norms to political stances and legal frameworks, these countries have shown resistance to LGBTQ. However, let's not forget the immense benefits that LGBTQ brings to the table. It fosters an environment of inclusivity, respect, and equality, allowing individuals to freely express their identities without fear of discrimination or prejudice. It's a cause that promotes human rights and individual freedom, principles that are universal and should be upheld worldwide. In essence, understanding the reasons behind the lack of support for LGBTQ in these countries is essential, yet it's equally important to advocate for change and progress. Just as these countries have their reasons, so do we have ours to believe in the power of LGBTQ. Remember, understanding and knowledge are the first steps towards change. Thank you for joining us today.